it easy, baby.
Our episode starts in a goth club. A couple who look way out of place walk in and gain the attention of everyone there. They let one of the patrons know that they're looking for someone named Valeria. The woman is very matter-of-factly about the whole thing, but the guy seems to be scared out of his wits. Eventually, a woman comes to meet them and tells them she can only meet one of them. The female agrees and is put in the back of a hearse, hooded, and then they take off. They eventually arrive at a secret location where she is met by some guy with a cloak. The last we see, she faints in his arms. We then see the guy at the police station explaining to them that the female who is an author doing research on vampires is missing, and he is frantic that they find her before dark. He's then taken to a graveyard where he identifies the body of the woman. As they're examining the body, they find bites on the neck. This then results in a debate about the existence of vampires, or at least people who think that they are. The duo then interview a professor who studies the paranormal about it, who seems to have eyes for Anne. Prior to heading to the club, she was last seen and getting nowhere with the bartender regarding finding Valeria. Eventually, Remy finds her via following the bartender, and after some small talk, she does the look closer thing, but when he takes off her sunglasses, she attacks Fangs out. After a lot of flipping to the point where I guess she went to the Catwoman School of Combat, he just grabs her and holds her down. Back at the station, he presents the captain with Valeria's fangs while she explains to Anne that the victim was given to her master and she doesn't know what happened after that. Meanwhile, Anne decides to start dating the paranormal professor, who begins seducing her with vampire-related poetry. The detectives later find out that there was no saliva on the body and that Valeria's day job is a lab assistant at a blood bank. While she's now the prime suspect, Remy is convinced that if she did it, it was under her master's order. They take her to view the body, and when she sees it, she tells them her master's name is Arno, and agrees to take her to where she last took the woman. When they get there, no one is there. Remy deduces that what he thought was an innocent message he relayed earlier from the club bartender was really him letting her know everything had been covered up. They bring in the bartender, who is again no help. The real name he has for the master is the name of a person who died in the 1800s. Meanwhile, the author's assistant, Kirk Draper, calls the police because a message was left on his wall in blood. When Remy comes to offer him police protection, he finds that the guy is rejecting it because he feels the issue is supernatural and has loaded up on things that supposedly repel vampires. As scared he seemed to be for whatever reason, we then see Kirk walking down the street at night. A figure in black shows up in front of him, which seems to be Arno. Arno then chases Kirk, followed by Remy, but Arno eventually gets away when he seems to fly away. Remy shows up back at the station and shows that Arno got away using a zip line and that he has been probably stalking Draper for a while as a way to convince him vampires are real. Remy says he's been going about it the wrong way and is going to try a different method of getting info. Remy then shows up at Valeria's place. He gives her fangs back and decides seducing her is the way to get info out of her. In the throes of passion, she says a line from the same poem that Anne said earlier. He then tells Valeria to tell her master to meet him or he'll tell everyone who he is. Remy then confronts Arno and lets him know that he knows he's really the professor. Arno then does a stereotypical villain tells his life story after he's caught routine, where he admits he created the vampire master routine to get vampire-obsessed goth women to sleep with him, and that the victim was sent away after she fainted. He says everything he did was to protect himself and his friends from Kirk, who was aggressively trying to out them, and that the author was not a threat to them as she didn't need convincing. Remy then makes a deal with him that if he helps find the actual killer, he will not tell Anne about the whole Vampire Master Act. We then see Anne going through Kirk's files and in them finds the tools used to drain the victim. He, much like Arno, goes into life story mode where he admits to killing the author because she stole his idea for the book, so he was going to publish the book instead, as it would get more publicity after 2 vampire-related killings were associated with it. Before he could get to her, Remy and Arno chase him off. The episode ends with Anne telling Remy that Kirk has been captured. Remy keeps his promise and doesn't tell Anne who Arno is, explaining he probably kept his identity secret because he might be a politician or businessman. Anne then makes the comment that she thinks he was probably a teacher, letting him know that she probably figured it out already herself. Thanks for watching. If you like this content, please leave a like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to know every time I update. If you want to help my channel grow, please check out my Patreon, where you can get access to content early, as well as see the content that can't be uploaded here on YouTube. Link will be in the description. Until next time.